Narcissist Ensnared, Episode 25. As Wynne opened the door, he saw Peter take a step back in surprise at seeing Wynne in his house. Wynne stared at Peter. He noticed that Peter was quite willowy in build, with thinning hair and a pasty expression. His watery, goggly blue eyes looked nervously at Wynne. So, thought Wynne, here was the big man at last. Peter looked to be shitting himself. "Hello," said Wynne. "Can I help you?" He maintained his gaze on Peter. "Do you know where Ashley is?" asked the bold police officer. "No. Why? What's wrong?" "She's had a crash and done a runner," explained the policeman. "Good God, where?" "At the junction, near Brummel Bridge. She might be hurt." "I think you'd better leave," said Peter, glowering at Wynne. Wynne continued to gaze at his adversary. "Go on, monster," thought Wynne. "Try and stare me down and see what happens." Wynne stared at Peter, delighted to finally meet this horrible abuser. It was a shame that a police officer was stood next to him, otherwise he would have quite happily set about Peter. Wynne remained staring and held his ground. "Do you need me for anything?" Wynne asked the police officer. The officer looked from Wynne to Peter. "I said you'd better leave," repeated Peter, although Wynne detected a tremor in his voice. "I heard what you said," replied Wynne firmly. "I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the officer. Officer, do you need any information from me?" The officer, sensing the hostility between the two men, sought to diffuse it. "No, I don't. Perhaps you could go and see if you could find Ashley. Mr. Havenia here needs to check on his children." "Certainly, officer, I'll go and do that." The officer stepped into the hall as Wynne walked out. Peter moved to one side. Wynne began walking away from the house when he noticed that Peter had followed him rather than go inside to attend to the children. Peter was holding a mobile phone which began ringing, and he answered it. "Yes, I'm at the house now. Ashley has had a crash down at Brummel Bridge." There was a slight pause. "No, I don't know. This Ian Wynne character is here, though." Wynne stopped walking and turned back towards Peter. Peter ended the call and looked nervously at Wynne. "I thought you wanted to check on your children rather than be gossiping like the old woman you are," said Wynne as he thrust his face towards Peter. Peter shrank back. "That was Ashley's parents," he countered. "And? Your children are in there, and you are out here, more concerned with talking about me." "What are you doing here?" asked Peter. "Looking after Ashley," replied Wynne, moving forward again. Peter backed off once again until his back was against the garage. "I'm keeping her safe from you, you fucking raping bastard," seethed Wynne, as he jabbed a finger into Peter's chest. "What? I haven't done that. Has she told you that as well?" replied Peter, a shocked expression crossing his face. "Fuck off. You've raped her repeatedly, and the rest. You're fucking lucky there's a copper in there. I'll be kicking the shit out of you, you cunt," continued Wynne, as he felt his anger rising now that it was just him and Peter outside. "Honestly, Ian, I haven't laid a finger on her. She tells lies. She's always done it. I'm at my wit's end with it." "Oh, spare me the sob story. I know what you are, a bully and a sadist. The things you've done to that poor woman." "Seriously, I haven't." "Then why do all her friends dislike you, man?" "Probably because she tells them lies about me as well. I abhor violence. I've only ever tried to love her." "You don't know the meaning of the word." "It's true. She has issues, major issues. She seems to be addicted to me. I don't know what it is, and she tells lies so often. I've helped her with her issues, but she will not accept that there's anything wrong with her. She always maintains that the fault lies with everyone else. Ask her parents if you don't believe me," he continued. "I've seen them. And they didn't speak up for you then, so don't try and fob me off, said Wynne. Why did you take her from me? Asked Peter. She came after me. She wanted to get away from you. You've made her life an utter misery. Do you know what she calls this? Said Wynne as he waved an arm at the house. A material tomb. I don't believe you, said Peter. No? Want to see the text messages, do you? Asked Wynne, and he reached for his phone. She will have told you that, Ian, but that's what she does. She tells lies all the time. She can't distinguish between what's real and what's not. She lives in a fantasy world where she is the centre of the universe. It's been hell dealing with it, explained Peter. You spout some shite, don't you? It's you who's got the problem, mate. All you care about is yourself and how you look with the big house and the trophy wife. That's not true. I work hard for my family and I play my part at home too. She always does this. She tells lies repeatedly. Please believe me. I bet she said that I bugger her and enjoy it, didn't she? Yes, she did. What of it? She trots that one out every time she has an affair. Most likely that she says it because it's true. You deserve a good hiding doing those things to a woman. What things? I haven't done anything. I'm the victim in all of this. I've had to put up with her tantrums, her infidelity, her threats to leave, and her sudden disappearances. Seriously, Ian, she lives in a world of fiction. She is in a living hell, and you drove her there, replied Wynne. He took a step towards Peter and raised his fist. Everything all right, gents? Asked the police officer, who had stepped outside again. Everything's fine, officer, answered Wynne. I was just seeing if Mr. Havenia could shed any light on her whereabouts. I'll go and see if I can find her. Good, answered the officer. He stepped back inside the hallway. Wynne stood and looked Peter up and down. He was still huddled up against the garage door, expecting a blow from Wynne. A typical coward. Acts the hard man when abusing a slip of a woman, but his balls shrink when another man confronts him. I'll have you, whispered Wynne to Peter, and turned away to walk to his car, pleased with having given the bully a taste of his own medicine. 10 minutes later, Wynne was driving towards Brummel Bridge. He scanned every passing car in case it was Ashley on her way to the house, but he didn't see her. The road was elevated before dropping down towards the triangular junction. From this vantage point, Wynne could see a mass of flashing blue lights. They were dotted all around as the police searched for Ashley. He looked up as a helicopter flew overhead, its great white beam sweeping across the countryside. Jesus, they are out in force, commented Wynne to himself. He reached the junction and saw the BMW X5 up against a tree, a fence smashed where it had crashed through it. She had skidded right across the junction, up the curb and over the verge. She was fortunate not to have hit someone else or rolled the vehicle. He wondered where she was. 2 police cars had pulled up at the junction, their lights flashing and illuminating the scene. Wynne bore left and headed to the Honest Banker pub, just 100 yards away, in case Ashley had gone to the pub as she had originally intended. Wynne parked up and strode into the pub, which remained busy. He walked through, attracting a few stares, but he couldn't see Ashley. He stood near the bar and swept his gaze around. No, she was not here. Wynne exited the pub and returned to his car. He decided that he would drive back to the village in case Ashley was parked up there waiting for him. When he arrived back in the village, he drove up the road towards her house. A police car passed him, driving down the road. Up ahead, he saw 2 police cars outside the house, Peter's car and that of Ashley's father's too. Wynne knew that there was little point in him trying to go to the house and find out what had happened. They most likely wouldn't let him in, even though he was there to help Ashley. He had hoped that he could collect her and spirit her away to his house to allow the alcohol time to get out of her system, so they could not prove she had been drinking. He halted and turned the car around and headed back the way he came, hoping that he might see her. The road was empty, and he reached the junction with the main road. She could be anywhere. She did not have her phones with her, and she no doubt could not remember his number to ring from the mobile she had called the house from. Wynne shook his head. What a fiasco. There was nothing more for him to do down here. He turned left and set off for home. Wynne woke up and realised it was the ringing of his telephone that had disturbed him. He grabbed the device and noticed that it was 5:10 a.m, and Ashley was calling him on her landline. "Hello?" said Wynne groggily. "Hi, I've just got back from the police station." "Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine." "What happened?" "Oh, it's been quite the drama, I can tell you." "I dare say." "I saw you." "Where?" "You were driving up to the house and I passed you in the back of a police car." "That was you?" "I saw the police car." "Yes, they were just carting me off to the police station." "So, what happened?" repeated Wynne. "Well, after I telephoned you, the people I was with, honestly, they were funny. They'd been on a night out, and apart from the driver, they were hammered. They kept shoving me down in the back seat when we went past a police car. Did you see how many had been sent out to find me? It was amazing. I counted at least 6 police cars and a helicopter. They had dogs out as well." Yes, tell me what happened," urged Wynne. "Oh, yes, well, we saw all the police and we were heading to the pub. I thought I should buy a double vodka, not drink it, but keep the receipt and say if the police came that I drank it after the accident to settle my nerves." "Right." "But as we drove towards the pub, I saw Peter with the police, so we decided to drive away." "Where did you go?" "We drove back to the village, and then I hit on the idea of going to some people I know further down the street." "What for?" "To say I had a drink there. The people who gave me a lift dropped me off, and I went to the neighbours. I saw they had some vodka and explained what had happened. I got them to agree to tell the police that I'd walked to their house and sought their help as I was in a state, and there I had some vodka to settle me down." "Jesus, Ashley, what are you doing? And did they go along with this?" "Yes, they were happy to. Lovely people. I shall have to thank them properly." "What did you do then?" "I walked up to the house and found the police waiting for me. They breathalyzed me and I blew over the limit. I told them why, but they still arrested me and drove me to Door police station." "What happened there?" said Wynne. "Well, my dad came with me, and he insisted that I be seen by a police doctor. He said, could you believe this? He said that I was mentally disturbed. Seriously, it's him that's mentally disturbed. My mother and him keep doing this. They are convinced there's something wrong with me when it's them that have the problem. You know what it'll be. My dad will be so ashamed that I was arrested, so he wants them to find that there's something wrong with me that I'm unstable to explain it away." "So did a doctor see you?" "Yes, he said there was nothing wrong with me. My dad insisted a second doctor see me. That's why I've been there all night." "Good God, he's obsessed." "Isn't he? The second doctor found nothing wrong with me. What a surprise. I was breathalyzed again and was just over the limit, so they offered me a blood or urine test." "You didn't accept, did you?" No, I kept in mind the gear." "Good. That did cross my mind as well. So did they charge you?" "No, they had been and obtained statements from the neighbours I saw. Those corroborated what I had said. You see, these things shouldn't apply to me. I'm not a criminal. Those rules of the lowlifes off the council estates, not someone like me. The rules don't apply." "Actually, they apply to us all," said Wynne. "No, not really. Anyway, they said they needed to do some calculations. Apparently they know the blood alcohol level from the first reading, and they need to work that back to when I was driving." "They don't know what time you were driving?" "No, they don't. And I said I couldn't remember." "There might be some doubt in all of this, then." "That's what I'm hoping," confirmed Ashley. "Anyway, I've come home to find that bastard has been through my handbag and my large bag, so he's seen the correspondence from my solicitors about the divorce, and he's seen your address on those letters. He just can't help himself, can he?" "No, he's strewn them all over the floor in the study. He's taken my iPhone and my BlackBerry. I noticed that he'd been searching on the computer to find out how to get into a passcode-protected iPhone." "Jesus. Where are the children?" "At my parents'. What do you think I should do about my phones, Ian? I don't want him looking through them." "Ring the police and say he's stolen them. He has, hasn't he? Do that." "Good point. I'll ring them now and call you back." "OK. Are you all right?" "Oh, yes, I'm fine. It was all rather exciting, really. I've never been in the back of a police car before." "I don't think most people will call that exciting." "Most people aren't me, though, are they?" laughed Ashley. "Let me call the police, and I will ring you back." "OK." An hour and a half later, Ashley called again. Wynne had got up and made himself a drink as he knew he wouldn't be able to get back to sleep again. "Hi," he said. "What's happened then? Have you got them back?" "Yes, the police went to his house and brought him across to my house. My dad came as well. I don't know why." "What did he say?" "Oh, he came out with some crap saying that he didn't know they were my phones." "Load of bollocks. Whose would they be in your house, and why was he trying to get into them if he didn't know who they belonged to?" "Exactly. He talked a lot of nonsense. He started bleating on, and I could tell the copper thought he was a bit strange." "What did your dad have to say?" "Nothing. I told him he wasn't welcome after what he did with the police doctors." "Oh, right. So I got them back, no problem. That was a good idea of yours. You know, it was weird, though. As they left, the policeman made as if he was going to hug me. I think he fancied me." "I doubt it, Ashley. They can't just go around hugging people." "Seriously, he did move towards me, and I thought he was going to hug me. I wouldn't have minded, actually. He's rather dishy." "So what are you going to do now?" "I need to speak to the insurance company. Apparently my car has been towed to a garage in Brandon's Cross." "I doubt they'll be answering their phones at the moment." "Oh, yes. Sorry, I've lost track of time." "Shouldn't you try and get some sleep?" "I suppose so." "Look, you've had an eventful night. Get some rest and I'll call you this afternoon." "Fine. Speak to you then." "Bye." Wynne felt tired, but knew he would not sleep. There was too much racing through his mind. He found it strange how Ashley seemed so calm after everything that happened. She'd crashed her car and had been arrested for drink driving. He wondered how long she could go on as at present, as she seemed to be lurching from one drama to another, pulling Wynne along with her.